Welcome to Remotely Interesting. I'm Carol Butler. I want to start the program by stating the events that you're about to hear concerning my guest and good friend Margaret Wright resulted in a miracle. Miracles are rare to say the least, and perhaps talking to someone who's experienced one can inspire others to believe in hopes that they might expect one. So, Margaret, thanks for being here and agreeing to share your experiences with others. Let's take it back to the real beginning of your story by describing what ultimately led you to the initial diagnosis of colon cancer.
In 1998, I ruptured 2 discs in my back and went to see an orthopedic surgeon. He did x-rays and asked if I'd had changes in bowel habits, and I told him no. He didn't order a colonoscopy, and I didn't ask for one. That was the beginning of what should have been a diagnostic procedure ordered to find out why my bowels were full. I went on and started developing real symptoms probably in the year of 2001. And the real symptoms were a lot of mucus when going to the bathroom, no fecal matter to the visible eye. At first it was just a slow start. I ignored the symptoms. In 2004, July, I was sitting on my deck thinking that I was dying and wondering how it had progressed this far. In the back of my mind, I knew it was cancer and still chose not to see a doctor. In October of 2004, I no longer could avoid seeing a doctor. I had gained 6 pounds and could not get rid of anything that I had eaten. When they did the colonoscopy, I had a very large tumor. The biopsy for that tumor showed that it was benign. I went to see, now the same doctor, the GI doctor, called me later, said it was malignant. They were scheduled surgery for December, and this was October. The surgeon's office called me and said they don't wait months for a cancer patient, and they scheduled me in right away. In the interim, I called a personal friend who is chief of surgery in Ohio, and the surgeon said, I'll do the surgery for you, but have your deep biopsy done with the surgeon down there. I did. I had the deep biopsy done, and of course it was malignant.
Was there some vacillation in saying that was malignant when you went through that experience?
The GI doctor said malignant, benign, malignant. The surgeons never hesitated. They knew what it was. Your tumor's chance of malignancy are measured. So if you have a 10 centimeter tumor, you've got a 100% chance of malignancy. 9 would be 90% and so on. I had a 17 centimeter tumor, so I had a 170% chance of malignancy. I did need a colostomy. Both surgeons did say I should start preparing for that mentally. The GI doctor said, oh no, this would be a surgical snip. Well, it wasn't a snip. It was 7 hours of surgery. Surgery went very well. I was discharged from the hospital in about maybe 5 or 6 days. Never needed a pain pill after discharge, and 6 days after discharge I was blowing leaves with a tiny leaf blower, but I felt terrific. I regained my energy slowly, felt very well. In February of 2005, I was to start chemo and radiation. I went to a clinic where the chemo doctor supposedly is renowned, graduated from a very prestigious school. It was a large clinic. The radiation oncologist worked with this doctor in a very large hospital. The first day I went to get my chemo, they came out and said, "Oh, you're through with chemo. You're here to get disconnected." Well, I hadn't even started chemo. That should have been my first warning. Second warning was they didn't have the drug. Told me to come back the next day. The next day there was no drug. The third day they had drug and started radiation right after I was connected up to the little pump that you wear. The doctor walked in the room to talk with me and said, "You're here for leukemia." I said, "No." "Oh, well, tell me why you're here." I said, "For colon cancer." "Oh, well, I'll be back." So a lot of patients don't know the type of cancers, and it's very dangerous when the doctor walks in and suggests one. Many patients would agree with that doctor. The drug I was receiving in chemo, right away I started having stomach cramps every second. And I told them that, and they said, "Oh, that's not our drug. It doesn't do it." And actually it does, and I found that out later. I continued my treatments and started having difficulty with severe diarrhea. Of course, with colostomy, you can imagine. I would tell the doctors this: "I'll take an Imodium and you'll be fine," and that was not the case. I also started having difficulty walking. It was very painful for me to walk because I had a pain in my lower right side. The radiation oncologist said that was nothing. Everything is, "Oh, that's from chemo," and chemo says that's radiation. Finally, one morning I experienced severe nausea, dizziness, and a friend of mine took me to the hospital. I had what's referred to as orthostats. My blood pressure would drop significantly when I tried to stand. When I arrived at the hospital, it was 54/39. They started fluids. I told them that the pain in my side was very bad, and they gave me 4 milligrams of morphine. That pretty much took away the pain. To make a long story short, I was admitted, and 4 days later, with lots of steroids, Decadron, and 12 bags of fluids, I felt like a new person. I walked out and forgot all about chemo and radiation. We were through. I got along fine until February of 2006. I had to go back to the hospital for possible blood clot. And when they did the CT scan, it showed spots, new spots in both lungs. Radiologists read that as cells with cavitations, suspicious of malignancy. My oncologist said it was histoplasmosis. But we would do another scan in 2 months, and then another one 3 months. The second scan was identical, same reading basically. The third scan, however, showed that it had spread and grown. It was malignant. I went to see my surgeon in Ohio. They did a biopsy. It was indeed malignant. It was from the colon, so it was colon cancer with metastases. I was too late to have any of the tumors removed surgically because in the 5 months that I was told I had histoplasmosis, it grew and it spread. The prognosis with metastatic colon cancer is typically not good. I knew I was not going back to the clinic that had treated me previously, and I spoke with a nurse practitioner of mine at a small family health clinic. I said, I'm just going to let nature take its course. And she said, "No, there's a doctor I want you to go see who's going to help you." Well, the doctor's in Rock Hill. It's a small town. And I thought, well, now what can they offer? I went down, spoke with the doctor, very pleasant, met the nurses. Now, at the previous clinic, you almost never saw the same nurse twice. This clinic, you would have the same nurse practitioner or physician's assistant or nurse at every visit, and they would know who you were. So I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose, and I started my treatments in October of '06. Now, I was on oxaliplatin, is the generic name. Eloxytin is the trade name. 5-FU, which you really need for treatment of colon cancer. That was the drug I was on before that I felt like was killing me. Magnesium, calcium, a drug that would prevent me from going through that severe nausea. You get 6 cycles of this drug, and that depends. It's like every 2 weeks, but sometimes you go in, your platelets are low, and they have to skip a treatment for a week. I went in, the first 2 months, yes, I had some nausea, took a pill when I got home. The oxaliplatin makes you hypersensitive to cold. You can't touch anything cold, drink anything cold, or breathe cold air. Feels like icicles are sticking into you. The 3rd month, I could drink cold beverages. Now, I wouldn't recommend swallowing an ice cube, but I could drink cold beverages. I could go out and breathe in cold air and it wouldn't bother me. I still couldn't touch cold things with my hands. I have neuropathy, meaning that my hands and feet tingle. It's kind of like they've gone to sleep. Otherwise, all of my side effects went away. The first CT scan during this treatment, the tumors had reduced a little bit. They don't like for you to become very optimistic because I was a terminally ill patient. I could be treated but not cured. I just had my total PET scan, total body PET scan, in June of '07. On June 25th, I went to get the results. The oncologist said I was 100% cancer-free. All of the tumors were gone. Now that is a miracle, and it has a large part to do with the drugs, the clinic. You have to select a clinic that's going to be right for you, where the doctor will listen to you, the nurses will listen to you, and they get to know you. And that's very important in your decision making about a clinic. But I think one of the biggest things is a positive attitude. You can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself. You have to go ahead and enjoy life. None of us knows when we're going out of here. We just know that all of us will at some point. So you make sure you get a good laugh every day, that you're very positive in all your thoughts. I had numerous prayer groups around the country praying for me. So I think a combination of all of these things is what pulled me through and helped the cancer to disappear. Now, we all know cancer may come back. It can come back in 5 months, 5 years, or never. But it's just like a healthy person. You can't go around every day worrying, is the cancer coming back? If it does, it just does, and you deal with it. So hopefully anyone out there that has cancer, you will maintain a positive attitude. Don't feel sorry for yourself, and enjoy every moment of life. You'll look at the world far more differently than you did before. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Carol Butler.
Well, thank you, Margaret. And it seems to me that the compassionate treatment from your doctor and the faith that you put in, that she was really looking after you this second go around, was definitely something that helped you in maintaining a positive outlook. And certainly you had animals that you were taking care of. And who knows how many things contributed to this miracle outcome. But I think a lot of it has to go to your outlook and your attitude and your faith in people. And you were so articulate, I think, pronouncing some very hard to pronounce medicines, because what you do for a living as a clinical research associate made you question the doctors. And I think that's something that all of us need to remember, is that you have a right to question your doctor if you do not understand what he or she is saying. And Mark, we wish you the best of luck, and we hope you will once again do another podcast with us, and we'll follow your progress in your new life now.
Thank you, Carol.
This has been Remotely Interesting. I'm Carol Butler. Join us next time. And Margaret, tell the dogs I'm still not giving them a mic.